I had our third daughter in 2011. I experienced severe postpartum depression, almost leading me to leave active duty. However, I continued to serve, and I will tell you, I refer to that experience as one of my best and worst experiences of my life. It really was the catalyst and driving force that changed the way that I looked at life itself, and is what really kept me pursuing my PhD until I achieved in industrial organizational psychology. I served in a series of key developmental positions as well as high visibility positions throughout my entire doctoral journey, to include serving in the Pentagon, most recently serving as the Kansas City Army Recruiting Battalion Commander. So that's just a little bit of background on myself related to talking about working motherhood. Values is something that very early on is instilled into you and talked about in the United States Army, but I will tell you my experience, particularly any of the key developmental assignments that I've been in, whether it's on staff or command, as well as the different times that I've experienced motherhood, going from the first time being a working mother to then, being a mother at home during my leave time, and then coming back on to work. When I look at from that experience, particularly for my third daughter, which is the one that I mentioned, the postpartum depression, it made me take a hard look at my values, and is one of the reasons I pursued something that is known as retained parental leave coaching. And in that, one of the things that you do is there's a key exercise that's utilized in pretty much any time when someone's going to have an initial session with that. And really, it's important to stop, consciously consider, what are your core values? How are you going to use them to guide the decisions that you make day to day and when you're looking at long-term planning? And once you've identified what's really important to you, then it's easier to actually integrate them into your everyday life. So for this particular exercise, you identify 5 of your core values and what they are to you. They have a whole different list of things that it could be, that go from being very broad to very narrow. So for example, you might say relationships, which is pretty broad, or you might specify family as a particular one because you really want to narrow it in and you want to focus on that. It really depends from person to person. And then it's really looking at how do you actually actualize that in your daily life, right? So if you say, for example, family is important to you and you look at your roles. So like, for example, yes, I'm a mom. Yes, I'm a wife. Yes, I'm a daughter, and I'm a daughter-in-law. And you look at your family roles that are the most important to you, and you think about, for example, if maybe it really means a lot to your family when you prepare. So you're very intentional that, 3 days a week that you will prepare a dinner for the family. Or if you say, hey, my faith is important to me, well, what does that mean when you actually make that actualize into your life? Okay, so I'm going to go to church on Sundays, and each morning I'm going to do, 15 minutes in the morning for prayer and 15 minutes at the end of the day in prayer. And you can apply that to any of the different values that you find are most important to you. I think what's really important in that is knowing there is no wrong answer other than not being honest with yourself.